You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things.
Hi, I'm David and I'm part of the staff team here at Ashburnham Place, who together with 23 full and part-time staff members and about 40 volunteers, we manage and facilitate for the Ashburnham Christian Trust, Ashburnham Place. Set in about 240 acres of stunning capability brown landscape grounds and gardens, much of which is a triple SI, is the remnant of a mansion house which forms most of our conference rooms. And then with ancillary buildings, we can accommodate about 250 guests. So we recognise that our climate is in crisis, but all too often we look to government, to the big corporations and other global players to address those issues. And sometimes we kind of forget that we've got our own personal responsibility in the choices that we make. And this is just to say that at Ashburnham, we're on a journey. We recognise our own hypocrisy in a lot of the choices that we make, in things that we find really matter to us, but we're not able really to fulfil those for various reasons. As humans, we were designed to be part of creation. And very often the choices that we make separate us from that, from the food that we eat, the water that we drink, or even recognising how our bodies adjust to the different seasons that we find ourselves in. If we care for what we love, we're not going to genuinely start caring for our natural environment if we don't spend any time enjoying it. So really what we spend a lot of time at Ashburnham doing is to try to facilitate ways for our community and our guests to come and really enjoy the natural environment, to begin to wander, to begin to enjoy these wonderful oak trees, the beautiful lakes, the seasons, the wildlife, and that way to reconnect and feel that this place is an area that they want to protect, care and love. And so much of this is about what we eat. So a lot more of the produce or the food that we eat comes out of the kitchen garden, but also we're encouraging more and more animals on site so that we can make the connection between that and what we eat. We're also looking at ways of eating less meat, but also making sure that when the food that we do eat, the meat that we do eat, actually comes from an animal we know has had a really, really good life. We're not there yet, we're on a journey with it, but it's certainly where we're hoping that we're going in the right direction. Our formal gardens have long been a place of rest and prayer and reflection, but increasingly we want to make that also a hive for wildlife. So we're planting a lot more ornamental plants that are very bee and insect friendly, but also we're trying to help people again just make that connection between things that grow and food. So within our ornamental formal plantings will also you'll see fruit and vegetables growing, and this is just a way of enabling people to connect with nature but also connect with the creator and see the link that we're part of the space that is the natural environment. So we know foraging releases those happy chemicals, very similar to the ones that we get when we go shopping or buy something online, that expectation that we're going to find a bargain. Foraging helps us to be present, to notice detail, to be in the moment. To help us access the foraging, we've teamed up with a local forager who is producing a series of small, short videos looking at what is growing at what time of season, what to pick, what not to pick, but then teaming up with our chef at Ashburnham Place, actually how to prepare it, cook it, and turn it into something that's really delicious to eat. The great thing about this is that you don't get the videos just by going on YouTube. You had to go, if you like, foraging to find these little codes that you then place on your phone, and that's how you access the video. So it's a really cool way of getting people out, exploring the woodland, but also coming across these little QR codes which they can then find out more about what they can eat and how to pick it, how to prepare it, and what it tastes like. So keen to reaffirm our connection with food and nature. We've started on stage 1 of a food forest here at Ashburnham using permacultural principles that looks how nature does things and working alongside that. So in this instance, looking at the structure of woodland from the large dominant trees to the smaller trees, the bushes, and then the very base there, and seeing how that all works really well together in harmony with one another. And we want to use that as part of an ongoing process to help us produce food. And in a way, it's kind of letting nature do what it does best. So we do less, but we get more from it. This summer was the first summer that we extended our wildflower meadow area. So our south lawn, which is a 7-acre piece of grass, which up until last summer we had managed more like a park, really, cutting it fortnightly for the various events and camping that we have over the summer. But we took the decision that we wanted to try and bring as much of the sort of natural as close to the house as possible. So we let that grow for the first time this summer, and that's obviously had its challenges, both in terms of pressures on land use, particularly close to the house, but also taking our guests and community members on a journey with us. You know, for some, this could, when you look at it, it looks like the starting of a wildflower meadow, but to others it just looks like an unkept mess. So it's about communicating what we're doing and why we're doing it. Over the summer months, we were lucky enough to open a lot of our site to campers, some of whom had never been to Ashburnham Place before. And what we realised was that actually when you place people in the outdoors and natural environment, they just become more human. They become more relaxed. They feel much more in touch with who they are by reconnecting with the natural land. But we also realised that for a lot of people, particularly if you're city-based, actually the woodlands particularly is not a place where you feel comfortable. It's a place that's quite alien. And how are you going to get somebody who doesn't like being in woodland particularly to care about trees, to care about the natural environment? And so we started thinking about how we can create a series of sustainable buildings, off-grid buildings that can encourage people to really immerse themselves in the natural environment. And really very much stage one of that was the creation of a project to build a straw house. And it's not quite yet finished yet, but it's absolutely stunning in its simplicity, but also in the way that it sits within the natural environment. So we hope that will be finished quite soon, and in the new year people will be able to come and enjoy that space.
You make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of us.
Hi, welcome to the Ashburnham kitchen garden on a cold December morning. I'm just wanted to spend a few minutes chatting to you about what we do here, our passion towards growing vegetables, interacting with marginalised people, and the depth of all growing good, healthy, nutrient-dense food is always the soil. So maybe we'll have a quick look and get our hands in some soil. And if that's something that excites you, it'd be lovely to see you in this space. So behind me at the moment, you can see various different vegetables. As you'd expect at this time of year, quite a lot of things are not growing, but still our aim and our heart in the UK, because our climate most of the time is above 0 and even most of the time above 5 degrees, where most plants will cell multiply. The aim is always to try and feed all the organisms in the soil by getting plants to multiply and grow and photosynthesize, which gives them lots of food underneath. So you can see lots of different things. Here you can see a green manure, which is oats based, so that we will eat this off with chickens, and then plant into again this in March or April next year. And you can see brassicas growing, and then further on, if we walk this way, you will see where we've composted. So we have taken parsnips out of this bed. You can see the parsnips growing at the bottom, and then we always try never to leave the soil naked. We always like our soil clothed. And so we can see compost on top of this, and this will go through the winter with the compost to feed those organisms. And if you look on the wider part of this, you will see all about the composting here. So we are producing 300 tons of compost each year from our waste, and we're aiming to use this to feed the soil. So we don't use anything else to feed our soil. So if soil and growing and climate change are things that really excite you, I'd really encourage you to watch a film called Kiss the Ground that's just come out a few months ago that tries to encapsulate many of these things, and it's been a real inspiration to us, probably the biggest inspiration in the last 10 to 15 years. We're in a polytunnel now where we did a hotbed this summer, so using all that heat generated in the compost, we then use that heat to help grow the plants, as well as the plants then having that lovely food supply. So in here, this all went in as grass and hay and cow manure and wood chip, and it's now, as you can see, broken down into a lovely soil that plants just love growing in. And the more we go down this journey here, the more we learn about how God, in his amazing wisdom, has just created in soil such an amazing community that is an inspiration to us all in the way that we care for the poor, the marginalised. Nobody's left out in the soil. Everybody has purpose. Nobody is an unnecessary ruler and head. It's all together for the good of all. And so the soil continues to be our inspiration, created by an amazing creator.
All right, so our compost is made from pretty much all the compostable waste from Ashburnham Place. So as you can see, we have kitchen deliveries and you know, private people's households waste, anything that is biodegradable or compostable. Together with hedge cuttings, hedge clippings and grass cuttings from the lawn. So we definitely put as much as we can into these piles. After about 2 weeks, we try to mix them up, bring some oxygen in to increase the temperatures, to break up some of the bad seeds. This is a pile that is about 5 months old now, and the temperatures are dropping. It's now about 40 degrees Celsius. We would like it to be around 60. But it's actually a good sign. It shows that it's almost mature to go on the land. We have 3 bays here in Ashburnham. It's not necessary to have this many. And the finished product for us looks something like this. It's our black gold, the compost. We put this on our vegetable gardens and some of our flower beds, so we don't have to buy any compost. So even our cooked food waste we try to mix in with our compost system. So in these concrete containers we have all our food waste. We mix it with a bacteria, it's a bokashi brand. We leave it for a minimum of 4 weeks. The longer the better. So really we leave it until we need to empty these ones because of space. And then it goes in with the compost. It becomes part of the cycle.
So COVID has its challenges for pretty much all members of staff here at Ashburnham Place. We're on furlough, whether in some form or other, and that has been difficult for all of us for different reasons. But it's been a challenge in terms of slowing down, in terms of not having a work to go to. But we hope that during that process we've had time to reconnect with our creator, to enjoy the natural environment, to slow down and to be a little bit more, and a time, if you like, to sort of get off the rush of being busy all the time. And I hope that when we do come back, hopefully in March, and things begin to, business-wise, begin to revert to some sort of normality, we will be wiser and have a different perspective on how we run Ashburnham that we've learned from our time away.